check. Are y'all ready? This show prove ain't nothing worse than the movement that ain't moving. So in the name of the Father we pursuing, so we can grant approval on everything we doing. We all talk a whole lot, now it's time to run at a pace that the devil can't keep up. If you scared to speak up, all fit disperses. A masterpiece only if Christ sees himself in these verses.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for tapping into the starting to become very popular CloudCity Converse Podcast. We are unscripted, unfiltered, and unapologetic. And when I thought about, again, the genesis of the ideas on how I wanted to do this Converse and who I wanted to speak to, I was really hesitant, in all honesty, about reaching out to my brother, my best friend, Calvin Lumas of, man, how many years has it been now, bro?
I don't know. You're going to have to...
19...
Was it 87?
87, 7th grade?
86.
Or 86, 6th grade, 86.
6th grade.
1986 to 92 was 4, right?
Yes, sir.
86 to 92, is that how math works? I don't even remember, bro. I'm so tired. It's been a long day.
I just go...
A long time.
Just go 96, 2006, 2016, 24 years.
Okay.
24 gold.
Man, what a good number. Hey. What a good number. That deuce four. But
that part right there.
But anyway, what I was saying was I was hesitant because I was trying to figure out what are conversations that I wanted to have, right? Conversations that I wanted to have on topics that interest me with individuals that interest me. And your story interests me, and I believe your story has merit and your story has a lot of value to the masses, but I was hesitant to approach you about talking about it because it is a very personal story. It is a very poignant story. So before we get into it, I wanted to thank you for being willing to take this time to come on and have this conversation with me, or in the vernacular of the podcast, to have this converse with me about this story.
No problem. You're most welcome. I figured, hey, we were going to have this conversation, so might as well get it on tape.
Right. So I'm gonna frame it up a little bit, and we just gonna get right into it, right? And anything you don't want to talk about, we won't, and it's all good. And if I start going down a path that you don't want to go down, then we'll just pull back. So it's all good. That's how we gonna do it. We gonna keep it 100. Because it's family, and maintaining family and keeping family. Now that we have the family back together is more important. It's the most important thing to me. And using the phrase and the terminology, having the family back together. The family is back together because you, my good man, are a free man. Praise God, a free man, and you become a free man by becoming an incarcerated man, right? So your story is, in spite of the fact that we spent our formative, is that the word? Formative? Yeah, we'll go with that. Our formative years running the streets of Pasadena together with the crew, with the mob. Shout out all the cast from the mob.
Yes,
shortly after high school, why don't you just start from there? Start with heading into the service.
Well, it probably was... I don't know how you knew, but shortly after high school, I moved in with you and your family.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
And, things just had to change as far as that was concerned. So moved in with you, started working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you decided to go to Arizona.
Right. 92.
So that pretty much sealed it. I was pretty much dead set on going to the military since I was a kid. So, and
we both were, right? Because you remember, the goal was we were going to be U.S. Marshals together. You remember that?
Something like
that. But right around graduation time in 92, the U.S. Marshals, I don't know if they disbanded or whatever it was, because Lord knows it was 92. It might as well be a million years ago. But then, because I think we wanted to be U.S. Marshals, and then we said we can't do that because they disbanded or whatever. Y'all on the internet, y'all trolls, y'all could fact check me, but
yeah, they haven't disbanded.
Or whatever it was, it wasn't in our cards, right? So then we decided, hey, I think it was your bright idea, not mine, to say, hey, let's go be military police in the Air Force.
Right.
Remember that conversation? You said, let's be MPs in the Air Force. Nah, I ain't gonna claim that, fam. Nah, I think that was you. But
no, I mean, even if it was me, I think it's something that's worth claiming.
Oh,
because
okay.
I think about it now to this day.
Right.
We were tossing these ideas around, but knowing what I know now, you could have literally signed up to be a police officer. Yeah. And in 100 days, you'd have had a badge, gun in the car.
Wow.
Like they would have gave you all that in 100 days.
Right. But the part that's
Can you imagine
wild,
that?
Oh, yeah, no. At this point, no. 24 years later, I can't. But thinking about it, so the Air Force thing didn't pop because we used to go to that recruiter station down on Colorado across from PCC. Right. And the way I recall it, right, because everybody's story is a little bit different. The way I recall it is the Army dude was always in there and the Marine dude was always in there, or the Army and the Navy, one or the other. But either way, it wasn't the Air Force cat we was looking for.
Right.
And based on that, I was like, I don't want to go to the Army. I dang sure don't want to go to the Marines because I always considered the Marines to be a whole different level of crazy. And I had no desire to be in the Navy because to be on a boat, I don't even like fish. So I don't want to be on a boat, a ship, a vessel for that long. So I was out.
That part.
But then I remember the call, or most likely because it was like 91, 92, it was probably or 93, it was probably a page, right? You probably hit me on the Motorola Sidekick to let me know that you signed up for the Army. Yeah.
So that was, you went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if you know this part, but Harold was supposed to sign up with me too.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, he was getting pressure, but then I went and signed up.
Yeah.
And I was trying to sign up for the buddy program, but Harold didn't do it. It was the same thing, right after high school, some of our parents was like, yo, you got to do something.
You're not going to sit up in here. You're going to do something.
Right. So, hey, we got him a job and he haven't looked back. And so that pretty much was the end of Black Ink as we knew it, because there was no way to write. We wasn't going to perform together. That made him a solo artist.
Black Ink, the now defunct, almost made it. 808 Mob hip hop group between what were you, Mr. C?
Man, listen.
What was your name back then? Because I know H was probably just H Nut the baggy-eyed hoodlum. He wasn't Big Halo at that point.
Listen, what did I put on all my food?
Your name.
What did I put on all my food? If I was eating fries,
hot sauce,
burger,
hot sauce.
Okay,
yep.
What kind of hot sauce? What specific brand?
It was Tabasco. Either Tabasco. Yeah, I was gonna say it was either Louisiana or Tabasco. You gonna ask me questions. We're gonna get into that too. How your memory is still so sharp, but ask me questions about what you put on your food back 150,000 years ago. But go ahead.
It's all it was. So I had a terrible rap name. It was Tabasco. It was Tabasco.
Right.
And then Mr. C didn't sound cool because there wasn't Mr. C.
Right.
So you couldn't do that. And so then I think after I got out of all my training and started working at Madigan Army Medical Center, I was still trying to record. So I met some guys up there and I changed my name to FaZe.
Okay.
So
did you have a number with it, or you was just FaZe? Wasn't FaZe 1, 2, 3, or it was just FaZe?
Just FaZe, because the album at that time was going to be called Phase of Life.
Okay. Everything got a meaning. Everything got a meaning.
So, went to the Army and immediately regretted not doing more research. Not regretted being in there, but if you go to the military and you know about what type of programs that are available to you, it'll really change the experience. It'll be an informed decision in every type of way, because it will impact you in every type of way.
Okay.
From housing to education to life insurance and investing. It'll impact you in every type of way, because you wouldn't choose a career where you couldn't take it back to the civilian world.
Okay.
Or if you did take it back, it would just be, it's too hard for you to earn. Like when I chose to be a paramedic,
yeah,
I wouldn't have wanted to do that
on the street.
Other than being a fireman,
yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to do it any other way.
Got it.
You know, and to be a fireman, you wasn't take an act of Congress and all type of stuff to become a fireman. It just as hard to get in that as the CHP.
Okay.
The hardest police organization to get in part of. So yeah. Next question.
All right. So you're in the service, right?
Right.
1997. My bad. 1995. Right, because I tagged the years and the memories for me based on the birth of my children. Right, 92 Mark, okay. 95 Chelsea, 97 Cam. So right. Chelsea is a little bitty baby, like super little, like 10 weeks if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. And how do you want to approach what happened in 1995? Rather, I keep saying 97, 95.
Maybe building up to it, because it's like how we grew up.
Yep.
You know, we were preps, jocks, squares. Mm-hmm. But we knew
pretty
or
boys,
related to people.
Don't forget the pretty boys.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I never had to say that. I just let the women say that.
Say that.
I let them, because
anyways,
you gotta let them. Just like somebody said at the wedding, all that finest.
Right, come on, stupid.
But
stupid.
So yeah, I mean, like we grew up rough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We grew up rough. We grew up fighting. We grew up doing some wild stuff. And so seeing some wild stuff.
Yeah.
I think I seen the first person I seen shot. I think I was in the third or fourth grade, right in front of my elementary school.
Yeah.
And the kid that shot the other kid was going to the elementary. It was elementary and junior high. It was going to that school.
Wow.
Shot him right in the face. So seeing things like that, one day living in this city, you probably gonna be in a situation where something could end up like that. So
it was kind of embedded and somewhere bedded down deep in you.
In different ways, you know what I mean? Growing up in the house, you know what I'm saying? Mom, pops, arguing. You go to school, you're rumbling with your siblings. Then you get in some real stuff every now and again. Yeah. So yeah, it was almost like, in a way, that one day I knew that I want to either, for one reason or another, have to use violence. So leading up to 95, they had gang violence, drug wars, such and such and so forth, and it was a trip because it was easy for me to separate myself from it. Mm-hmm. As you know, when we lived in LA, one gang burned out because if I put a name on it, I'm gonna have to put a name on it all the way. No,
there's no need for that. I mean, we just tell all we doing is talking and telling stories. But the difference is when we normally do it, like when we talked about you coming home and us sitting across that chessboard, which by God's grace will happen the weekend of August the 8th. Won't he do it? But ideally, it's just a lot more ears. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So having a gang burn down your home and make you homeless. Yeah. That's going to put a chip on your shoulder. I don't care who you are. And just like, my brother Brett, he decided, hey, if this hood burned our home down, I'm going to be from this hood. Right. And be 100% with it, to the point where his loyalty was unquestioned. That came before family. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Same thing. So, we grow up in the cities, real dangerous at the time. You had to really watch where you was going all the time.
watch where you was at all the time. And it was easy for me to navigate. It was easy for me to be with my boys, hanging out. And if I was by myself, I only really got caught slipping one time. One time. You know, because you learn, if you're not going to be a part of this, you have to move a certain way.
Right.
You have to look a certain way and move a certain way. So it's easy for me to leave that. But then, boom, same thing. You have a big brother, now you have a little brother. The things that he's going through, the things that he's experiencing, the difficulties that he's having.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I can fix those things, which was not a bad thing. But I'm not thinking clearly. You know, I'm thinking, okay, let's give him something to protect himself with. And then one pistol turns into two, turns into three, turns into four. Then it becomes a situation where what started off as, okay, we just need this for protection. And it turns into like a small enterprise that you didn't know anything about.
Right. Until after the fact, of course.
Like we're running all through his like junior year, senior year.
Right.
First year at PCC, like none of y'all knew. only thing y'all knew was what he said. I never said anything to anybody. Right. Because that's how it is. You know, what you do, you hold your cards close to your chest. So, long story short, we're doing this back and forth, you know, and it gets real intricate, and we're trying to make it lucrative. Okay. And we need one thing. We need, you know, marijuana to fuel the purchase of guns, and then the guns to be resold and just keep recycling. Right. Not really even thinking that, you know, leaving the situation worked out good for me. Yeah. You know, and not even putting that on the table. Like, maybe you should just leave the situation. Maybe you should come up here, do your last year of high school up here, become your legal guardian. Anything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anything was better than what we chose, but I take responsibility because you clearly know if someone is going with what you say, or if you're going with what they say, who's in charge of this whole thing? Right. You know what I mean? So it was like, more than anything, it was starting to become a string of bad decisions. Okay. Now let's stop there for 1 second. So we are the year, give me the year again where we're at right now with this one. So we're 94, 95. 94, 95. Okay. So this is the time leading up. So again, what's the point of this conversation, right? Why bring this to the masses? Because through an individual's struggle, through an individual's story, through an individual's pain, punishment, whatever you want to call it, stumbling blocks, the only residual benefit that I've ever been able to see in suffering and trial is to be able to assist and help others from making like decisions, right? So that's the whole genesis, as far as I'm concerned, why I wanted to have this specific conversation with you to take to the public, because it's a redemption story. There's all kind of awesomeness, but this is, at this point in time, we are talking about basically a fork in the road, right? You're heading down a path, knowing good and damn well, right, that is not the right path to be on, but it's the path that you're on. And sometimes when you're in a position to make those decisions, you just kind of stick with what you're doing, right, and try to ride it out, and especially at that young age. So you said, go ahead. The interesting thing is that whenever you're going down that path, I personally believe that you have a level of awareness. Okay. You know what you're doing. You know exactly what situation you're putting yourself in, if you're setting yourself up to succeed or fail. But the interesting thing, you know, we believe. Yeah. You know, you believe, I believe. We believe in God. The articulation is different. Yep. But some of the things that we experience, we would be able to identify with. So going down this path, the point of this is going down this path, you always have a chance to turn. You always have a chance before you do that final decision. Mm-hmm. You always have someone trying to, out of the blue, trying to encourage you, or out of the blue say, hey, do this or go there, or even say, hey, you're messing up. You need to tighten up this. I had all that.
Okay.
I had strangers
trying to pull your coattail and
trying to pull my coattail, trying to get me to focus on the things that were more. But at the same time, if I didn't tell you what was going on, definitely nobody else knew what was going on. You get what I'm saying?
Of course.
Nobody. So Cars was close to and it was like having a double life, and it feels like that, and there's this sense of shame that goes with it, because, and the shame is knowing that at any moment that somebody could do something that I consider that they violated and jump from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So that's you shouldn't feel like that type of characteristic, that type of trait is something that to be exalted, So along that path, I had plenty of people trying to steer me the right direction, and I had to make a choice, and I just decided to choose the wrong thing. I chose where we were getting our pistols from. One of the guys had stole some money, and I chose to deal with that issue. I had almost a handful of people who had knew what happened, telling me, bro, let that go, or you win some, you lose some. And I'm like I told you before, I'm used to having I raised up choosing permanent solutions for temporary problems.
Right.
And that's what it was. It was just literally it was like a faulty type of thinking, because whatever problems that you have in life, we were always told that to walk away was a sign of disgrace or cowardice, or weakness.
Yep.
Right. When you think about it, when you live in a society where at any moment you could get it, like any moment anybody will bring a move to you, walking away is probably the smartest thing you ever could do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not engaging is probably the smartest thing you ever could do. And it's just getting to the point. And then, like you said, having the chip on your shoulder, mm-hmm. and then going down this path, it's a deadly cocktail. It was the cocktail when they said dead or in jail by 21. Literally, like dead or in jail by 21. How many people do we know that were either dead
or in jail
right. by 21?
Yeah, and it's crazy too. I think I wrote you when you were gone about the dreams that I had. It was after the fact, right? But when I think I was in Phoenix at the time, and the dreams that I had about not making it to my 21st birthday, right? I mean, I had the dreams too about not making it to my 18th birthday, and then I would die before my 18th birthday, and then when I made 18. And the crazy part is the cat that killed me, I know who he was. I went to elementary school, to Jackson Elementary School with him. He's from Pasadena, and I seen him around, which was really, really crazy. And then I started having the dreams again before my 21st birthday. And that was probably, I was back from Phoenix at that time, but I think I wrote you about that. Anyway, getting long-winded, but I would have dreams that I would not live to see my 18th birthday. And I had dreams again that I wouldn't live to see my 21st birthday. And I just celebrated now my 47th birthday by God's grace, obviously. But the crazy part about it is that we were expected, especially with our upbringing, where we were from, right? And what we had around us as examples and of what to do and what not to do, and the decisions that we made, both poor and and not so poor, but risky nonetheless, young teenager decisions to follow and do silly stuff. Some of us chasing after dreams of movies, you know what I'm saying? Trying to live that movie lifestyle, trying to be O-Dog and all that old craziness. Some of us trying to be Ricky and some of us trying to be Doughboy, right? So that's kind of what gets us to where we are. So let's jump So now you're in the service. Let's jump forward a little bit, right? So we're talking about the string of bad decisions. Now you're in the service, and situation goes down, and which leads you to 24 years behind the wall. Is that the correct number? 24? Because I base everything off of Chelsea's age.
Yeah, like 24 years, 8 months.
Yeah.
Which you do off of a 28-year sentence.
So yeah.
But again, it was one of those things. At some point, when do you, like, there are a few people that were in prison that were like unjustly put there. You know, political prisoners.
Sure.
Right. That's less than 1%.
Yeah, but if you ask anybody to a man, everybody in there on some trumped up stuff.
Right.
Regardless of what they want to cop to. But yeah, I'm with you.
So do I do that for 25 years? Do I just pass the buck, take no responsibility? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then take that home with whatever baggage I came with, and that, because I don't see that working.
So let me ask you this, just for the articulation for those that are watching and listening. 25 years behind the wall. You went in at what age?
21.
21 years of age. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'm going to switch to the solo camera. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters that are watching and listening, think about where you were at the age of 21 years and the things that you experienced and the things that you went through, the things that were going on in the world when you were 21 years old. My man was behind the wall with hardened criminals, working on a stretch at the age of 21 years. When most folks are, well, because we were young and reckless and doing stupid stuff, we were drinking and doing other things. Hell, fresh out of middle school, coming out of Elliott, we were drinking and doing silly, stupid stuff. But when most people are at the legal age to drink, the legal age to go into a 21 and over club, you were starting a 25-year bid, a 27-year bid behind the wall. What was that like? Like, I mean, that's what I want to get into, right? I want to get into what you can recall, because again, your memory is stellar. What you can recall about. I mean, I get this theatrical picture, right? You walk through the gate or whatever, and it closes behind you, like that first day, that first night, and then the ensuing years. What was that like for you?
I want to say, I mean, it's different from the first night you get arrested and that first night in that first jail, the night after you get sentenced, that's a different night. And the night that you arrive at prison instead of a jail, that you finally go, you're at a penitentiary. Strangely enough, after I was sentenced in July of 96, and go from the courthouse to one jail to another jail, and then finally I'm in BOP's custody. Mm-hmm. It was August 8th, 96 when I got there.
BOP, the Bureau of Prisons.
Right. And I remember writing Jarmel a letter. As soon as I got some pen and paper, I remember dating it, boom, this is the day I hit the pen. So, it's weird because you try to, some people like to hold on to that pain or that suffering. And then some people try to make the best out of a situation or try to stay positive. So for me, it was easy to stay positive because of the day I arrived.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? When that door didn't open the next day, it was just sitting there like, okay, maybe they'll open it. Oh, Then they opened the chuck hole and they shoved that meal in there. It was like, okay, well, maybe they'll open the door in a couple hours. And next thing you know, a couple days and went past.
Wow.
They don't even care about showering.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, at first I'm thinking, oh, this is what prison is. You just gonna be in this box for 23 hours and some change. What it was, I was in what they call a holdover facility.
Okay.
And I was in a facility with a bunch of people that had started riots at different prisons from 1994. Was the first time that when we're just gonna keep it funky, when the white folks
Yeah.
brought over all the cocaine and flooded the cities with
Right.
it, they passed a crack law,
Right.
which was for harsher sentences. So in 1994, there was a provision to reduce, to make it fair, from cocaine and crack, from the same drug.
Right.
And the Supreme, that wasn't the Supreme Court, it was the Senate, Congress and Senate voted it down. Every prison started rioting because it was like, you brought this stuff here. You set the trap. We fell for the trap. But now it's like, you know, because we fell for the trap, we get 10 times more time.
Right.
Right? Then keeping it funky. Then somebody white, they got cocaine, 2 years. You got crack cocaine, 30 years.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Well,
so there was like a revolutionary spirit going on, and they were up in arms about that, what was going on with the courts, with today's current president, what he takes pride in drafting that bill.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? He takes pride in voting down 5 years later, voting down to make it fair. But now he's president, and now they have fair sentencing. Right. It took him about 40 years.
Right.
Yeah, it just took him 40 years to come down from his position. And it's described as a correction for an overcorrection. Right. That's what it's not described as a misjustice, a miscarriage of justice, any of that. It's described as a correction for an overcorrection. That's what they call black people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could do
for a overcorrection.
We could do a whole series of episodes on the prison industrial complex.
So that's what it was like. Yeah. When I got there, dudes was beating on the walls. It was maddish. They had been locked in those boxes for at least a year.
Wow.
For at least a year.
What was your first stop?
It was what's the name? It was Sheridan.
Sheridan. Okay, up here.
The holdover at Sheridan.
Yeah.
And then it was USP Lompoc. So then when I got there, it was like, it was one of those places where you realize really fast that if you overreact, you're probably going to put yourself in a situation you don't want to be in. No matter who you are or what your circumstances are, overreacting will probably get you hurt faster than anything else. So, for example, if somebody comes up to you and you're scared of that person and you overreact, it's going to end up worse. Okay. You know what I mean? If somebody tests you and you're like, okay, I can meet this challenge, and you overreact, it's going to end up worse. You know what I'm saying? You might actually hurt. I know people are supposed to come home in 2010, then come home in 2020 because they got into something in prison. And same thing, you know, you get into trouble in there, you hurt somebody in there, give you extra 10 years, extra 20 years.
Like it's nothing. Like they handing out candy on Halloween.
Hand that thing out. Hand out 1,000 years before lunch every day. So, but that's what it wasn't so much. I wasn't scared. I wasn't intimidated. I was more, the shame, seeing my parents and my family at sentencing, knowing that I was responsible for my brother coming to prison. Right. He was 17 years old. He was my co-defendant. The decisions that I made about the things that he was going through, I couldn't see myself not being involved, but I at that point that there was a multitude of decisions that led me to there. So that's really where the reflection started. You know what I mean? This was the very first time. You think about it, from when you were a kid, you're being told what to do.
Okay.
You're being shuttled around from place to place. And then you become a teenager and it doesn't stop. So everything that you've done up until the 9th grade was putting you on this program. You got to stay on this program. You got to keep moving and progressing forward.
Right.
Everything that you're dealing with at home, you got to figure out, because no one's teaching you how to deal with stress, anxiety, whatever's going on in the house. Loss of life. Like for some people, you might start losing people that you love later in life. For me, it was early in life.
Right.
You know, I'm going to funerals every year, multiple times every year up until I get incarcerated. And then people stop dying.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
So loss of life and not knowing how to deal with that and trying to be a student or have a social life and things like that. So this was the very first time I had a chance to just sit down and reflect. You know what I mean? And think about how I put myself in this predicament and what I needed to work on.
Yeah.
And what I realized then and what I realize now is that you're going to be given everything that you need for this life early in life.
Okay.
When your parents are telling you right from wrong, and if they give you religion, manners, morals, that's all you needed in life anyway. Because I think you might agree with this. At a certain point, like when you became a father,
yep,
and you didn't shy away from that, and you stepped up to that. But it had to be a certain point where you didn't know how you was gonna feed the boy.
Oh yeah.
How y'all was gonna feed each other. So there was this leap of faith.
Right.
This pure reliance. You know what I mean? That gave you reassurance.
Yeah.
And so that's all it was. And so for me, it was like going to extremes. Led me to where I ended up. And you realize really early, like if you play football or if you box, if you go to prison, you're gonna realize real early, it's a lot of tough dudes in this gym. Right. So is that what you really want? Because and then you really learn who you are.
Yeah.
Are you really that kid or were you acting out? Because clearly this guy over here that has a sword as long as my arm that he made.
Right.
and he's chasing the police officer with it.
Oh, wow.
He's not acting out. He's not acting out.
No, he's not playing a role. He's not trying to emulate something he saw on TV. That's legit.
He's not playing a role.
Yeah.
He's not just upset for a little bit. No, this is the proverbial worst of the worst. You get what I'm saying? You start saying, damn. You start looking around, and it's not a game. It's not funny. But you start looking around, you see that just like in society, mental illness.
Yeah.
You see people sharpening their craft. What got them there? The decisions that they made, the things that they did, they're gonna keep practicing those things so they can just keep on doing all types of things. Then you see the depression, you see the anxiety, you see the stress, you see people going bald, you see people going blind, you see people eating themselves to death to deal with time. You see people reading, you see people going outside, you see people going outside, and I didn't notice it. You see people going outside just to calm themselves down, just to sit outside and just calm their spirit. So you see And at that time I'm thinking they're just going for a walk, just getting some fresh air
right.
on the yard.
Right.
But you see people literally focusing on mental health. Some getting help, and some just doing coping the best they can. Because, and again, I'm not a father, so you see people crying on Father's Day.
Yeah.
You see people crying on Christmas.
So let's take a break real quick for a second, and we're gonna because we're at 40 minutes, and we're gonna have to just. I mean, I knew this was gonna happen. We're gonna have to bust this down into 2 episodes. So we're gonna put a pin in it for a hot second. We're going to keep recording. We're going to take a quick little break though, and then we're going to pick back up with the second half of this Cloud City Converse with my best friend Calvin Lumas. We're talking about decisions and consequences, right? But God is good, regardless of what you call him. God is good, and we'll be back with the next episode. We'll get it out a week after this one airs, and then we're going to continue the conversation. But thank you guys for tapping in, for logging in, for listening, and for considering to be a part of this journey and letting my man get his story, get his truth out there to talk about what it was like. And then we're going to come back with some more interesting conversations on the next go round. So we appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in to the Cloud City Converse. You know, we try to keep it as unscripted, unfiltered, and definitely as unapologetic as we can. So y'all be cool. We'll be back with the second half in next week.